Hello everybody, it's Wendy here again with a video for the Indigo Blue YouTube channel. This one should be loaded and come live on the channel in November, so what better theme and image to use than the poppy. Indigo Blue have done quite a few poppy stamps. The most recent one was this poppy landscape one, which is part of the Wizard of Oz collection, and I think there were some poppy stamps in one of the box kits, but I'm going to use this giant poppy. I shall add some bits of background stamping with some of the Tasty Textures stamps and a couple of the collector's edition stamps. At least that's the plan. We'll see how it gets on. So I've got a journal page from my 8x8 journal that I want to put some background on. I'm going to use Vivid Inks and I'm going to spray. Normally I'd try to spray in a box, so that you can see what I'm doing. I'll do it out of the box, so I'll put some deli paper down to catch the spray that will inevitably come around the edge, and then of course I'll use that for something else. So I'm going to start with some of the Catch a Moonbeam and Sweet as Summer Peaches. I want a sort of a yellow orange kind of background, so let's see what we get. So I'll just spray I'll just put that to one side. Once I've decided I've used enough, I will give it a squirt in the water with the nozzle. I think that's enough orange, so put it in the water and just wipe it with a cloth to keep the nozzle clean, but I might add a little bit more yellow. And that will do pretty well. Okay, if I can, I want to leave this to dry naturally. So I'm going to just set that to one side and allow that mica to come through and shine. So while that's drying, I'll move the whole thing to one side, out of the way. So I've gone ahead and I've stamped and embossed and cut out this huge giant poppy, and this is what we've got. So I'm going to colour this also with some of the Vivids, but this time I'm going to use the red, the Will Scarlet. This is a matte colour, so it doesn't have mica in it, and I'm going to colour that. I'm going to spray a little bit on my mat, and I'm going to put some water on here so that when the ink hits the stamp, it should go pretty much everywhere. Actually, I'm going to put a paint mat down on top of this so I don't get that filthy and get all red ink on the back of my card when I put it down. This is not particularly clean, but it doesn't matter. So I'm just going to add on some of this lovely Will Scarlet, and you can see where the embossing is, it's acting as a resist, and it's a really vibrant red. Okay, I've got far too much ink on my mat, but I will not waste that. I will get a tag or two and give these a spritz, and then just smooch them in that ink and then that'll give me a background for something else. There we go. Be a bit more. So I've got some Raven Black paint, which I will just add a little bit into the centre. This is a metallic. I could have used black gesso, but I'll be doing something different with the black gesso a little bit later. So I'm just going to add in, I don't want it too heavy, otherwise it'll cover up the stamped lines. So if I rub it around with my finger, that'll take away a lot of the depth, and it'll give me the colour without going over the lines too much. Okay, I think that will just about do. Going to get some kitchen roll and maybe take off some of that red just to give it a little bit of easy shading without me having to do the work. To one side, and let's see how the background's doing. I suspect it won't be anything like drying up. No, it's not, so I'm going to have to get the heat gun onto this. So let's do that now. I think we can work with that for now. So let's go back to this. Okay, right, what my plan is to do a sort of a border around the edge and then put some stamping around before I put the poppy front and centre, big focus image there in the middle. So I think we might just do the border so I know where the stamping needs to go. So I'm not going to be at all precious about this. This is just going to be a wiggly line. Around there. I've done it slightly wider there to take account of the holes. And then using some black gesso, I'm going to paint around that border. So here goes. I might even go in with black paint on the top, but I think this will be an okay first course at least. I'm turning the card around rather than turn my hand around to make it a bit easier for me to follow that line. Okay, that's the outline of where my border is going to be when I've done. So I'm just going to leave that while I do a bit of stamping to get these background textures in. So I've got some script and I've got some numbers, and I think I'm going to use this dotty one from the Tasty Textures. And some of it I want to stamp in red to echo the red on the poppy. So I've got Versifying Claire, which is tulip red. I might go in with my hands with this rather than a stamping block, and then I can manage to work out where I want it to go. That's okay. Let me just check that direction. I think that's right. Yeah. And some numbers. I haven't trimmed this one down yet, so I think this one will be okay. Oh, look at that. I didn't check the direction. Never mind. I'll do some others upside down so it looks like it's meant to be like that. put some in the other direction as well. There we go. At least if it's multi-directional, it's not obvious that that was a misstamp, and it kind of looks like it's meant to be. Okay, let's have a look. I think that'll fill. There's a bit of a gap here that I want to fill, so I think we'll have a little bit more script there. That's good. I don't need to cover absolutely everything, but that was a gaping hole, so maybe just put a little bit there. Right, lid on there. And let's get this outline painted in as best we can with this black gesso. I'll pop the paint mat there. Move it up so you can see. And although I'm using poppies for this because I'm taking that idea of it being November and Remembrance, you could of course do this with any central image, any flower. There are lots in the Indigo Blue library for you to choose from. Might need a couple of coats to get some good coverage, and I might just go down to a smaller brush to cut in that edge again. One of the reasons I didn't do any stamping in black, because I think there's going to be enough black on this border to echo the bit of black on the poppy. Let's find a smaller brush to use. Looking better around those two sides. a good black layer there. Bit of a straight line along the top, so I just want to add in a bit more curve without getting a big blob of black everywhere. Okay. Right, I'll pop that to dry, or maybe I'll run the heat gun over it before we do anything more. Brushes away, put those stamps away, and I will get rid of that because it's covered in black gesso now. So this is going to go in the middle, and I want to make that border pop. Make sure I get the poppy the right way round, which I think is sort of like that. So I'm going to use my white Posca pen, and I'm going to just outline this border with the white pen just to define it a little bit more. I'll get some kitchen roll to keep my hands off the work, and I'm just going to come Okay, let's define it a little bit more. Are there any places where I might need to add a little bit more white ink? So if you're not familiar with Posca pens, basically they're acrylic paint in a pen, and for this kind of job they're perfect. You could do it in white gesso and use a brush, but you probably wouldn't have the same level of control as you've got with the pen, but any pen will do. Going to go on there. I could use some foam tape to stick it down, but I think I'm just going to glue it flat. It's going in my journal, so it doesn't necessarily need to have dimension, so I'll just glue it with some grab and go. I've unpacked all my stuff just lately and put it away, tidied up. I'll use some Slap It On, that will do. This is a quick, easy journal project. There's not much to it. So when you haven't got much time, but you want to create, it's quite an easy little project. So that's going like that. In the centre. Got it the wrong way around. There we go. And then as a sentiment, I'm just going to use some stickers. And clearly being November and Remembrance, the word remember has to come into it somewhere. So I'm going to use this one. Remember down there. And time to remember. Okay, so there we have it. Quick and easy journal project. Remembrance, time to remember, using the giant poppy and all of the Tasty Textures stamps, Vivid ink sprays and a couple of collector's edition stamps. I will put it on a a white background so you can see it a bit better. Let's pop that like that. And a piece of card. There we go. Thank you for watching. Hope you liked it, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you. Bye.